All right, my name is Nolan Priest, and right now I'm taking a walk along the side of the road and recording into a cheap pair of earbud mics, thingies, majings. It looked like if an Apple and a Samsung earbud, like the classic ones, had a baby. They're at a weird angle, they're generic, and I don't even know if this is gonna sound great. Being played back to me, it sounds okay, but that's okay. We can do away with a little bit of the premium quality and pay attention to some premium ideas. These are VIP, very important ideals that I'm going to get across or attempt to. And so I'm just going to introduce YapStars to all my listeners, past, present, future, and give some ear space to the notions, the ideas, and the reality that's been my base for however long. Because I feel like I've always been a version of myself, just kind of unfolding per se, or depthening. Of course, we can use the onion analogy from Shrek. There be layers. And I wonder if that picked up. I'm gassy today. So let's get gassed up. I'm just going to rant and rave and buckle up, because this is something you're going to want to have knee pads on, elbow pads, and preferably a pillow strapped to your chest. What do I want to yap about? I think I'll still be a little bit meta until I have an idea. The reason that I wanted to make this is because I can just never, ever finalize an idea. The other version of this I want to do is called Falcon Talking Shift, and just fucking talk shit about the things that I care about and the things that I want to change for and I want to change me, riffing on alchemy and interpersonal development. And I was doing some of those, riffing with the AI for a little bit, and then I got all in my head about recording with AI, so I was like, okay, I'm going to just chill on that for now and not do anything. Same with my music life, where it's just like sometimes the art moves you, sometimes you move the art, and I ain't moving right now. I ain't doing shit. I'm also gonna double check. This is my first time recording. Still solid. Might have heard my clicking noise, might not. I heard it. That's cool. And I'm walking at a brisk pace so that my ideas are well stimulated. And if you hear me fidgeting with a mic or anything, just know that it's for both of our enjoyment. Because I don't think an artist should eschew their own joy and pretend like what they do doesn't bring them joy. Because even if it's so cringe, like somebody laughing at their own jokes, I'd rather somebody be having a good time. I'd rather somebody critique themselves so that we can have a more intimate view of them. I'm going to yell sometimes when cars are passing, and I want more passion, more energy. That's what I want. And if I have to be the one to give it, I just hope to God that I get it back in the right ratios and frequencies and vibrations. Okay. Also, I miss my siblings and just some of the nostalgia from growing up of just always learning new lingo, being one of 7, have older siblings, younger siblings. And while the older siblings are more like, Soldier Boy, tell 'em, kind of turn my swag on terminology. The young ones are like skibbity riz motherfucking, I don't know, shit like that, yapping on and on God. And so I feel like I got to stay in touch with both foundations of my life, the higher ones, the lower ones, and mid around a bit. Not be so afraid of things being mediocre, of things being okay, and then having something to grow off of. Kind of like a house. Like, I don't imagine too many people find pouring concrete fun, at least not doing it for a lifestyle. But just imagine when we were a kid, just pouring fake concrete and sand. That shit was fun. So that's what I'm looking for in life, to have fun and to be able to just at any moment change. Like when you're a kid and you just get done with something and you throw it aside. I want that. I want to just not feel bad about, oh, this is no longer suiting me. I'm done with it and that's that. It doesn't have to be that I hate what I was doing or I hate who I was or hate. It's like, no, good things have an end. I love myself enough to do what I want to do as long as I'm respecting myself and others. And even if I'm deprecating or bothering myself or others, that it's in an authentic and willingness to learn about why I'm wrong way, instead of just like, oh, I am emphatic about this, I am right, I got louder about this, I am right. That shit ain't my jazz. That ain't jive. That is pivotal in the fact that you should, when you notice that, choose what you need to say and say it how you need to say it, because otherwise you just kind of be brusque and at times convoluted with people. Oof. And that's not it. It's fun, but it's very short-term fun, and then you feel like shit afterwards. It ain't mutually reciprocated, nurtured enjoyment. And that takes trust, which is why I've become an improv snob and why I believe that more people need to get into the theater, and so they can get out of it what I can get out of it, which is being somewhere because we get pleasure out of being goofy instead of taking ourselves so goddamn seriously that we can't even express our innermost notions because we care more about our reputation, or we care more about being inoffensive and sanitized, or we care more about playing this timid, shy shit so far into the life that we thought we were going to live that we start realizing that, well, we haven't lived it yet. And that's intimidating. That's something that you're like, wow, do I want to fucking admit that and start where I'm at? Like right now where I don't want to with music, because I'm like, oh, the things I make don't necessarily sound great. They're not, it's the same way with drawing. Like I can see stuff, but I can't draw it that way yet. So getting over that murky bridge, or bridging over that murky water rather, is fucking intense. Yeah, I know how to swim. Yeah, I've seen Bridge of Terabithia. I know people got to die for their imagination sometimes, but it's like, fuck, I don't want to be a martyr for my goddamn experiences. Oh, I just want to be me, and I want to be able to share what it is that I do and don't like about life and not feel threatened by that, even if that's people, places, or things. I give a damn about what nouns we're at ends with, because there's always an opposition to who you are, but it doesn't always have to be in violation. That's the angle that it's important to me to hit. It's letting something breathe, whether that's a scene or an art piece or an idea, yourself. It's leaning into the awkwardness. It's supporting yourself and another instead of this endless self-sacrifice. Sure, there can be compromise. There's no way to get through life without it, but it doesn't mean that you have to compromise your values, your tastes, your integrity just because you want to get a funny, or you want the right people to like you, or you're just trying to get paid and, keep up with where you stay. I respect that to a degree of like, I see you struggling and doing what you were taught or what you thought is right. However, if we both feel a way that we either cannot address about it, or we have this tension that to me comes from living an inauthentic way or an inauthentic pace, then I can only be a friend to myself and to you by letting you know it. I gotta put you on notice. And this first little mix-up of yapology is about me putting myself on notice. You know what's not working anymore? It's pretending that I'm better than a team. It's being so wannabe wolf pack leader that I don't even look at how a real wolf pack is ran, which is very team-oriented and very much about putting the strong ones in the back to push everyone forward. It's about knowing when to take offense and knowing when to step back, and let alone to give. Because if two people or more are talking about the things that have the position to them which could perchance upset somebody, we owe it to them to handle that with care. Now, at the same time, we owe it to ourselves to not just throw it away because somebody might care about the how we say it, the why we said it. That's all valid. However, toe the line with me. Refuse to invalidate yourself because, man, it's going to pay in one way or another, or that's the self-sacrifice I got to atone to, is just this constant degradation of myself to put others up, because that has an expiration point. That the end game is simply, I'm going to endure my suffering, I'm going to depreciate myself, and then I'm going to get stuck in this cycle of self-medicating and self-denial because, oh, it'll just work if I just push myself down one bit lower and raise somebody higher in the meantime. And I think we're taught by our parents to do that because they're all like, oh, we give you everything and you don't even care, and you know, blah 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 blah, we are your parents, you must obey and love us the same way that we are taught to by higher institutions. So if you don't bite this indoctrination pie, there's not going to be enough forever. And while it's very thoughtful shoving down our throats and trying to feed us and getting us to congregate to be part of a functional society, it also brings on so much dysfunction that, oh, I love the sound of those frogs. It no longer allows us to be true to ourselves because it's so easy to just be like, oh, well, I'm not selling out. I don't have a problem with eating and smoking and drinking and moderating myself. It's just that I need to be loose. I need to be so loose that I don't care about what's tight to me, what's right for me, what's real for me. And then you wonder why you're 20, 30, 40 plus. And I hear this from older people online too, the people they still love, 60 plus, 70 plus, that they wish they would have kept in contact with, or the ideas they wish they would have followed to fruition, even if badly, the risks they would have taken on themselves, even if they wouldn't have paid off in a hyper rich, like, ooh, I could have hit the lottery, or I could have da-da-da-da-da, not that kind of shit, but the actual intimate values that we've had in our entire life, and we thought, oh, we'll forget about that, we'll settle down, we'll get a partner that's okay, that we love, that we care about. However, they might not hit every box, and we're told that that's too much to think that we can have every box hit. But then we go to work, or we go to church, or we go to somewhere out there, we buy a product that is sold to us as if it hits every box, and it really doesn't, but we tell ourselves it does. And then we have these false comparisons between people in video games, for example, or people in machines, people in books, people in ideas, that instead of it being an encompassing of that and ever increasing approaching of the mystery of life with normal day-to-day talk, it's, hey, how's the weather? Hey, how's it going? And half the time you don't even give a shit. You're just repeating it absentmindedly. It's being on fight or flight mode so constantly that the only thing you have is anxiety about how something could be, instead of just going on a little rant and a little tangent and expressing it fully. And sometimes letting yourself get lost in the sauce and just being like, oh, if it's that important, it's a boomerang thought, it'll come back. That's what I like to tell myself. I forget shit. I've somehow remembered to always forget shit. And I think if it's important, it'll come back, because that idea needs expressed. I want to express it. And if I'm just not giving myself the benefit of trust, and I'm only giving myself the benefit of the doubt, then at some point I'm being asinine to my life. I am desisting from dreaming. And it's like, you can do that. It's a real option. We've seen so many people do it that unfortunately it's extremely, I don't know what you would say, constant. It's well known, but is it what you want when, after all is said and done, no matter how many family members you have, no matter how much friends, no matter how many lovers you have or don't, one day you're going to have to just be like, oh shit, this is what I want to do. And I don't care how much people are going to support it that I'm familiar with. I don't care that ancient stories were written against this, that there's myths of my culture, that there's, I don't know, I'm going to go stupid poor, I'm going to da-da-da. And I'm not saying like leave your family, build a better one, unless that's apt to you in the sense of like a young adult being attacked by your family and you need to escape them like I did. I'm not saying like just say fuck everybody that you care about unless they're already doing that to you and it's just a sense of karmic justice. And even then, just do it as wise as right as to your life. I am saying though that the more, and this is more than just a cope, the more you practice self-love and self-acceptance, as cheesy as that sounds, as cliche as that sounds, as goofy as it sounds to be yelling that walking down the street, it is life-changing. Like you hear the people, the elites of our society talk about gratitude, and they're like, ugh, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude is the attitude. Well, sure, that's fucking goofy. That's fucking... It's not the only thing you have to do. You can't just gratitude your way into a wealthy lifestyle. But you also, if you have to happen to stumble upon a wealthy lifestyle or you have to have it for your needs and you lack gratitude or you refuse to practice it, you're going to get to that empty, oh, well now I'm just living on routine mode, but I can have more expensive groceries, or maybe I don't have to look at the price of things. And I ain't even saying that wouldn't be amazing. That would be a huge weight off my shoulders, and I wish to be able to share that with multitudes. I do think, however, that if I did not surround myself with people that do more than just want to indulge themselves and be around people that make their life easier just so they don't have to work or they don't have to craft their visions and have to apply their character more, then that's not the people I want to be around. I'm 27 years old, looking forward to 28, 29, 30, and the thing that gives me hope is that there's people making it later in life than me. There's people at the similar standpoint of life right now where they're years away from fulfilling what they care about, but the fact that they're letting themselves go at a pace that's self-respecting, that's even wrestling with these troubling ideas of I can't do it, I won't do it, I shouldn't do it, but it's what I desire. Even the fact of letting yourself desire creative outlets, desire faith to be what you make it, not just what you're told it is, to really put the stake in that you deserve, to know that even if the gamble doesn't pay off in obscene riches and fuck you money, that just to be like, you know what, I had the fucking gaff, is that right? I don't care, I had the gaff to do it, and I was bold, and I felt alive. And as somebody who was so sick that they lost most of their hair and lost most of their fucking, for a little bit, will to live, and I thought my life was over, so I feel like I manifested that sickness, and I had to make great sacrifices to be here. I can literally say I gave a nut for this. I would not have it any other way. I definitely deal with some fallout from that and some health issues and even a little bit of self-esteem at times, even just coming down to the sheer, the physical atrocity that surgery can be and the after effects and specialized medication where you have to just nuke yourself just to stay alive and then have to recover from that. I mean, I've been through a little bit of personal hell, and I would do it again and again and again if I knew that I would just get to keep my mindset, and that even if I had to lose my mindset, that to some degree I would still be me and retain some meanness. So I used to think like, oh, kill the ego, get rid of me, lose myself in everything, in the dance, don't know the difference between the dancer and the music. And I still want that, but no matter how many songs I sing, no matter how many styles I try out, I will always be the artist that I am. And I care to observe that. And I hope you do too, if you're still listening to me rant and rave. I hope that part of what me spieling has reeled you in for is because you're like, oh man, like, sure, this is just another inspirational jab. It's just somebody kind of journaling out loud. It might not sound the best. It might sound okay, like literally, but it might tickle some of your fancy. It might not really fit your, what do you call it? Not your fucking, when you throw a tantrum, fit your, I don't know, whatever. It might not really light all the lights for you. Maybe you're living like my car with all the lights on the dash and you're just like, ugh, every day is just another day, and it's a reminder of how much things could just fuck up bad. And sometimes maybe you're even like, I'm done with this, I'm ready for the eternal rest, give it to me now. I sometimes think that more than I think about how excited I am for the day and the people I've surrounded myself with, and that we're all approaching the ideas within ourselves with gusto. And then I kind of shake that off a little bit, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, my life is not a total shit show. I'm not just a loose asshole that just is gonna put people down to get somewhere else. Like, I care about people, and I care about myself, and that's truly and genuinely the reason I'm on here doing this, is because I just want to hear myself talk about how much this part of my life is important to me and necessary, and I owe it to myself, and it ain't a punishment, and it is as rewarding as I choose to put into it. And I think that other people deserve to have this at any time of life, and know that we've had this before. We've all had treasured times in our life, and that same, is vestitude the right idea? That same altitude is not only survivable, but is not just something meant for childhood or for, you know, a one-time thing of like, oh, I was young, I did the thing, I gave it a little bit of a care, but not enough to really do what I needed to do, which I keep hitting on that. But I don't think there's anything more, excuse me. One sec, I'm at this Solidarity fridge, and somebody put a pie in here. But I don't even know how they had it in here. But it is hard to put back, so see if that works. Cool. That might sound like a cop-out, like, oh, you just want to do what you want to do, you gotta do what you gotta do, just do it. However, that guy's character, I've heard many upsetting things about that. However, that's the best saying ever, is just do it. And within self-respecting, self-honoring, self-caring reason, just fucking do it. Just let yourself, for a week, for a month, for a year, and not even exactly in a coherent, like, X and days off and then now I don't have to do it. But just like, oh, this week I'm gonna try something once. Alright, shit, that's not that hard. Let me go 2 or 3 times. Okay, 3 times is a little tough. Let's do 2 times some weeks, 3 times some weeks, sometimes none. That's what I'm doing right now with improv, where sometimes I'm getting as much reps, as we call it, in as I can. Sometimes I am just like, fuck this. I want to smoke the ganja and just fucking grub the fuck out. Sometimes I think, oh, I just want to play video games. Sometimes I just want to read. Sometimes I just want to not do any of that and talk with my roommates. Sometimes I want to hide from everybody and just fucking stare at my phone. That's all stuff that I've made up a lot of these years of my life doing, specifically the staring at my phone and sometimes avoiding people, sometimes being more interactive. And because I've been filling out what's right for me, I've been embracing a reality which gives me enough oomph to keep after it, but also not just feel like I have to. Like, one thing I do when I toke is I always feel like I gotta get like the best buzz I can get, best bang for my buck. I want it to last for hours. I want food to taste good, music to sound good. I want to sleep good, fart good, and be done with it. And not necessarily done with it that, like, I want there to be the entourage or whatever they call it effect. Then I'm feeling it later on. I want the afterglow. Then I get so caught up in attention to detail in a way that I'm not really building an experience for myself and not being like, oh, I can appreciate that I'm using less and that I'm sometimes able to get more if I space out my use, which I couldn't hardly ever do in my hometown. Part of that is it's harder to get. Part of it is just that I don't have the money for it. Part of it is that this is what I really want to do, is be surrounded by people that give a fuck and not just have to hide behind a buzz. And it's gotten me as far as it has, and I'll probably always continue to use it to a degree. However, beyond 10 years of use, it's time to chill out on the self-abuse. Word to your mother, I'm out. And something about just being present without needing to be so high, ostentatiously, ostentatious. I mean, that works. I'm in a mindset now that, like, there's always going to be a couple opportunities a year to just be like, fuck it, I'm getting blasted. But it doesn't have to be every Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday, definitely Fridays, you know? And if you're still there, that's okay. It took me years to come off of that. It said, when you're high, you never want to come down. And I'm ready to watch myself leave instead of bleed into this fucking vain notion that I'm so good that I can just get high and not practice. Which, sure, there's like athletes out there that do that, and they show up with some spunk, and they show up with a little bit of sleep, and they show up fucking limping and stuttering and stammering, but they play the fucking game and then they get paid. I don't know if I'll ever be an athlete of theater, comedy, music like I aspire to be. Maybe I get stuck at some level of like small decency, but not really doing what I know is possible. On the other hand, though, as much as I can make it more than I am now, it's just better and better and better. And it wouldn't be so bad to be a teacher or staff member out of theater until I can get further out, meet more people, and have people like what I put out. Because right now, not quite frankly putting that much out. I had a phone incident, some dropped it jaywalking, some dude ran it over. I think it was mostly on purpose, but I tried not to let it ruin my life. I went a good couple months without a phone, new opportunities to just get new people's numbers, and sometimes I just change my numbers anyways and stop talking to people, but now it kind of happened more like oopsie daisy, and then I found some of the old people's contacts, so it's like, okay, maybe I go down this path, maybe I don't. However, that being said, just allow yourself to fail forward. Allow yourself to go do something that you wish you would have done while you were in school. Because that's a big thing about theater for me, is I was madly in love with theater kids and band geeks and just the weird kids that once they really just stop pretending like they don't give a fuck just to not be made fun of and picked on, and they showed you how much they gave a fuck, and we all go and we're laughing and just we remember that shit. That's my favorite. It's when people show resilience to bullying and show that, like, oh no, you think it's cringe to have fun, but that's actually so much more cringe because life is long, and if you're not having fun, oh, what a shit show. So I just want to give people a form of I don't know what you would call it, uh, session into my life, I guess. I hope that there's less people listening to this that I used to know and more new people, just because I think it's weird to keep up on somebody's journey and not talk to them. And everybody I used to know either has my email or a way to reach out to me otherwise. So introduce yourself in the comments. Feel free to just say what you did and didn't like about this. I guess there's probably a different direction I could have taken this, but the point is for me to give myself direction and have this be something that resonates and relates with you. Ooh. And just promoting an interest in giving a shit, because it's such a better feeling in life to be like, oh no, sure, I might be taking the scenic route. Sure, it might not be going 0 to 100, but maybe I wouldn't be able to handle that given more resources with less stability. And sure, that's part of like a transitory period anyways, where I'm just gonna have to be okay with that and let myself grow in a way that I can provide more warmth for others instead of just being like, I don't know, kind about throwing shade. Because that's some of the people in my life right now that will just talk so much shit with a smile and think that because they throw a cheesy grin that, and because you're eating their shit, I just eat shit and pretend that it's gourmet. A-okay, that it's A-okay. And fucking, that's a good Ty Verde song, A-okay, check it out. I have to have some aspect of enough is enough within my own life and be like, no, I absolutely do not have to keep being the guy who just throws a shit-eating grin on and just fucking out-grins the shit somebody's serving me. Sometimes I can just be an asshole because somebody's already being an asshole to me and just be like, no, I'm not taking what you're serving. My dad once said that you always eat shit sandwiches every day. Some days you just get more bread. And that's a fucked up way to have to hold on to whatever's precious to him and whoever. Because it's like, no, you signed up for that. You do that because that's what you think you owe yourself, I guess. You got to win the endurance test between you and God or whatever the fuck it is. But for me, it's more like, no, I can go to a different restaurant. I got food at home I can make. I think the only shit that you should be worrying about is the shit sandwich between your ass cheeks and blowing that shit out with a goddamn enema if you have to. And I think I'm gonna end there. So yeah, this is my YapStar solo cast because I'm not quite ready to be a rap star. I'm not quite ready to be like an entertainment star. But I don't know. I guess part of me is just like, we're made of star stuff, so it ain't too cocky to say that we're a star. And right now I'm starring in my own movie, my own book, my own directing. And I want you to feel this way, because we'll get to this weird like, oh, everybody can't be an artist kind of mindset. We got to have some slaves so other people can do art. And then you become a slave to your ambitions because you just try to outperform your own ideas, your own loves, your own cares, because productivity makes that so you don't have to care about that. You could put that same energy towards basket A while sitting there saying, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket, while you're simultaneously chickening out of the life you owe yourself and nobody else can give it to you. And essentially nobody can really take it. But I don't know. That's not entirely true, because people can take your life and your voice and all that stuff if you let them. And sure, there's like freak incidents where you can't just be like, oh, like that person could not have done otherwise. And that's where it's like, yeah, I ain't talking about just trying to be right because you can be right. I'm saying do right because you owe it to yourself, and You don't want to be living on such a like delicate line of, oh, if I say I'm all right one more time, I'm gonna not be all right on somebody, and then hopefully you do it to somebody that it's all right to do with. However, if it's a fucking emotional manipulation, trauma bartering, dick measuring contest or labia measuring contest constantly, that ain't gonna fly. We've all got beautiful bodies, we've all got beautiful minds, and while many of the current seers of our reality are like, oh, trauma's a terrible thing to waste, better double down on it and re-traumatize a bit, I so much want to compel people to be like, yeah, I was victimized, I ain't a victim though. Or if you do feel like it's more empowering to say you are a victim or you were temporarily a victim or whatever, just set some amount of context for yourself that also helps you realize that that's not going to be entirely you. Like, you could have been brutalized in a war and have horrible PTSD, which is a reality for a lot of people in our families, immediate circles, friends, and yet you can still find ways to, gotta throw out the psychedelic buzzword, integrate that and find ways to put more of yourself into reality than you were ever allowed to, especially because what else are we fighting for? Whether we're in the actual military or we're just fighting the thought police. So my name is Nolan Priest. I'm your yapologist for the day. Thank you for joining me on YapStar. And I'll see you around, fellow Yapineers.